Hi everyone, this is Andre from psdbox.com, and I'm back with another manipulation tutorial. And what you can see here is the final result of the tutorial. To be honest, I'm quite happy with the result. And by the time you see this on YouTube, the text tutorial will already be online on my website, so you can go there and check the links to the stock images and also the step-by-step tutorial if you want to see that, with the screenshots and all that. So in this video I want to walk you through all the layers and all the effects that I made for this. And the first thing I will do is disable the final result and start working with the background. As I said, the links to the stock images are on my website, so you can go there and check them. These are free images from DeviantArt, so you can download them for free. And these are the main images that I used. As you can see there, there's just 5 images. So let's start working with that. So the first thing I have to do is open this background image and change the canvas size to these dimensions here. I always use pixels, so these are the dimensions of my canvas. Let me scroll down. So my objective here is to create a night scene. The sky in this case, I don't like it. It's too bright, and I will replace this with my own stock image, which is this one. Well, it's not my own, but anyway. But instead of masking the sky like I would usually do and put the sky on a new layer under it, what I did is add a gradient overlay. So the reason why I use this gradient, this black to transparent gradient, is because I wanted to cover the sky and also have this dark to light transition that you can see here, which you can adjust by using the scale option. And also you can move the position up or down using the mouse, just like that. I will cancel this now. I can still see some of the mountains there on the background, so I will drag it down. Okay, once you have this, you can open the sky image and paste it on a new layer on top of. Right now I have all these adjustment layers, but let me open the sky so that you can see. So Control A to select everything, Control X to cut, close, and paste it on top of the background. You can see that this stock image is not wide enough, but you can resize this to cover your canvas and press enter. Now the problem that we have with this stock image is that we have all these trees here which we don't need. So what I did is just use the clone tool and cover them just like that. You don't have to be too precise because this will be a dark area and it will not be very visible. Try your best anyway. So you just use the clone tool and cover all this. Just like that. Well, just fix those areas. I will delete this layer now, and this is the one that I have. And then you can create a layer mask and cover all these hard edges here. And I ended up with this. As you can see, I did a pretty bad job at cloning here, but anyway, it's not visible, so don't worry too much about it. Once you have it done, you can go back to the background and adjust the gradient overlay. You can drag it down to have it darker here, because if you move it up, you can see that you have this bright area here which is not looking good. So try to have something like this and then click OK. Once you have this, you can start adding adjustment layers, or you can add the woman. Just open the stock image of the woman, and it's a really high resolution image, so you shouldn't have too many problems extracting from the background. Usually what I do is use the pen tool and trace a path around the body, and then turn that path into a selection and mask it. But you can also use the magic wand if it's easier. Just use the magic wand as you usually do, and then create a mask, invert it. The magic wand is really good, especially here on the hair. But the reason why I don't use it is because I don't like the edges. If you use the magic wand tool, you should use the refine edge feature, but I rather use the pen tool and spend like half an hour tracing a path around and have perfect edges than using the refine edge. Well, it's up to you. You can use any method you like. Once you have the woman extracted from the background, just go ahead and paste it over your canvas and scale it down. As you can see, I turned this into a smart object, and I also have some effects which right now are disabled, but I'll show you what effects I have there. And I also have this mask here because as you can see, this is the original, and I wanted to fix that, and I used some brushes you can use. These brushes here are really good for this kind of masking. Also, if you're good painting hair, you can paint your own hair here if you want. I tried to do that myself, and it didn't work really well. I'm not a good painter anyway, so I will disable this. And now we have the basic structure of this manipulation. All you have to do now is start adding adjustment layers. I started with the background, and the first thing I did is make the ground a bit darker using curves, and this is the settings that I have here. You don't necessarily have to use the same exact values that I have, just something similar to this will do. Then I added a photo filter with orange at 20%. And you can see the change before and after. And then I used color balance to create that. I wanted to have a bluish tone, and you can see the values of the shadows, the midtones, and the highlights. On the text tutorial, I have screenshots with all these values, so you can check them out if you want to. Basically, you want to increase the cyans and the blues on all three channels. And then to make the ground even darker, I used a gradient map with this color values. Here I have a really dark blue, and then another unsaturated blue, and I changed this to soft light. You can try other blend modes if you want, but this one looked right to me. You can also decrease the opacity if you want to have less of the effect, but I like it like this. And so these are all the adjustment layers that I have for the background. Of course, you can put them into a group if you want, but I'll leave it like that for now. Then you have to do the same with the sky. In this case, I just have 2 adjustment layers because I already like how the sky looks. So I used color balance to change the colors a bit, to shift them. So here are the values that I used, and this is the before and after. And then I used levels to make it darker, and now you can see that those things that we cloned are no longer visible there. So that's why I said you don't have to be really precise with it. And these are the values. Basically, I increased the midtones and also increased the highlights a bit. So I made the midtones darker and highlights a bit brighter, and also the shadows. I increased the shadows a bit. So before and after. And now the background is pretty much done. This is how it looks. And then I started working on the woman layer. And the first thing I wanted to do is, since I know that I will have that candle lamp sitting here, which will be our main light source, I have to create some shadows on the left part of the body, and the face and the arms and the feet here will be illuminated by this candle lamp. So first I started working on the shadows. I created a new layer, and as a clipping mask, you can create it as a clipping mask if you right click and choose create clipping mask. In this case it's not active because it's already a clipping mask. And then I got the gradient tool, set it to black to transparent again, and I drew a gradient like that, and then I just changed the blend mode to overlay. And if you see that the effect is too strong, you can move it, or you can decrease the opacity if you want. So this is the original one. This is how it looks before and after. So now the left side of the body is a bit darker, but you can still add more shadows, and this is where I added effects. So I added some inner shadow. You can see the effect before and after, and you can see here on the hair and on the left side of the body. And I used color burn, and the color is black, really low opacity, and the angle from left to right 135 degrees in this case. And then I also added another gradient overlay to add even more shadow on the left side. And in this case I used hard light, and the gradient here is black to transparent again. And also you can see that we have the same okay. So now that you have the shadows on the body, you can start working on the shadows here on the floor. And I used the same techniques as I showed on my manipulation secret series. I duplicated the layer of the woman, and I rasterized it and removed all the effects and apply all the layer masks that I have. And then using the hue saturation, I reduced the lightness to 0, click OK, and now you can see that I have a black version of the woman. And press Ctrl T to load the free transform. Right click and choose distort, and now you can start playing with this to cast the shadows. In this case I will put the shadow on the left side because the light will be sitting here and the shadows will be cast to the left side. So with this you can cast the shadow wherever you want, and when you're done just press enter and you're done. I also added some Gaussian blur to this. I think I added like 10 pixels or something like that, and then click OK and reduce the opacity to like 70% or something like that. With only this shadow it's not enough, so I created another layer and painted some more shadows, and this is the final result. And I will show you now how I did that. So create a new layer, get the brush tool, set medium size like this, depending on the size of your canvas. In my case 90 pixels, something like that is okay. Reduce the opacity to like 50% or something like that, and the flow as well, and just start painting along the areas where the body touches the ground. Increase the hardness to like 30% and just start painting like this. It's really easy, just need a bit of practice. And then reduce the opacity again to like 20% or 25%, and increase the brush size, reduce hardness to 0, and I will zoom out and paint the areas around and under the body. Just like that. As I said, it's not complicated at all, you just need a bit of practice. So this is, let's see how it looks without these shadows. So before and after, so you can see it really adds more realism to the scene. So I will delete this, and this is the original shadows that I painted. So now that you have the shadows on the ground, the shadows on the body, you can start adding adjustment layers to the woman, and these are all the adjustments that I have, and I don't know why they should be as clipping masks, so let me do that now. Okay, by the way, if you press the Alt key and put the mouse between the layers, you can change a normal layer to a clipping mask layer. Okay, the first adjustment that I added is a gradient map, because I wanted to add a bit more of contrast and a bit of color. And again, I went for the blue because I have to blend the color of the girl to the ambient, so I have to use the same colors. The exact values are these ones. Again, on my website you have the exact values on the screenshots. Then I used levels to darken the skin even more, and I increased, in this case I only touched the midtones. Let's go back. And then I used color balance to add a blue cast on the skin, and these are the values that I have. And right now it looks like the image is it doesn't really look good right now, but we still have to add the light effects here, so we will fix that in a moment. So now that we have everything ready here, all you have to do is add the candle lamp. You can use again any method to extract it from the background, and just paste it here, and in this case it's at 38% of the original size. So, and I placed it here, and then I added some inner shadow from the right to the left. You can see the before and after, and I use the overlay blend mode for that. Click OK. It's not really necessary if you don't want to add it, but I don't know, I like to add small details. And once I had everything ready here on the scene, I started to add the first light effects. Oh, of course I have to enable the shadows. I painted the shadows here just the same way as I did with the woman. So I duplicated the lamp, I rasterized the layer and reduced the lightness, and used the distort to make the shadow, and then I made this soft shadow with the brush tool. The first light effect is this one. You can see here, candle glow. I don't remember the exact color value, but it's an orange color, and big brush like this, and set the blend mode of the layer to color dodge, and just paint once, but I have the opacity at 20%, so I have to put it at 100%. So paint once like that, and you have that glow there, and this is the original, so we have the same effect. And then I wanted to add a second glow of light, so I created a new layer. I used a smaller brush size, something like this, and I got a color like this, And in this case I used the screen blend mode and painted once like that, and you can see it adds a bit more realism to the fire of the candle. And this is the original. In this case I think I also used some blue, as you can see there, but anyway, it's not even visible, so you can use orange and that's it. Okay, once we have the fire of the candle ready, you have to add the light effects on the ground as well, and for that I created a new layer, and again I used the color dodge blend mode and a dark orange color. And as you can see, I'm not really worried about the exact values, and I got a big soft brush and just started painting. If you want more light, you can increase the luminosity of the color and just paint again. And it's as simple as that. As you can see, we already have that light effect there. You have to be careful not to touch the body too much, because in this case you're burning the highlights here, so use the eraser tool, the soft eraser, and get rid of the effect here. Actually, it's too much. Okay, something like that. Okay, so before and after, color dodge. It's a really good blend mode for creating light effects. And well, this is the original. Actually, I like the one that I just made now. I like it better, but anyway, this is the one that I made myself on the original. Okay, now that we have the light source ready, the light on the ground, all we have to do now is add light on the woman's body. So create a new layer. Again, use the color dodge blend mode and the same color as you used for the ground, or something similar to that, a dark orange, and you can start painting. But of course you have to use the brush tool, not the eraser. So get a big soft brush and just start painting. As you can see how we add light on the woman's body. If you want a stronger light, as I said, increase the luminosity of the color, and you have more light effect. And once you have this ready, you create a layer mask for this and mask all the areas where you don't want to have that light effect. It's always better to use a layer mask than using the eraser tool, because you can always go back. So in this case here, the effect is too strong, and I want to decrease the opacity of the brush and remove some of that effect. So if you spend a bit of time here painting some light on the woman's body, you can get some really nice results. Also, don't forget the hair. That's how I added the light on the woman's body, and this is the original. Again, this is a more unsaturated light, and in this case I duplicated the layer because I wanted a stronger effect. Let's see if I can increase the saturation. Maybe it looks better. And change the tone like that. So that's all the light effects that I added, and then a few details that I added. I wanted to add some fireflies, and for that I used this stock image. I used the magic wand to remove the background, and as you can see here, just decrease the size of that insect, and I duplicate it a few times, rotate it, and use the distort tool. And I added some outer glow effects. Let me find one. This one, for example. Let's see what. You can see I used outer glow, and the blend mode that I used is linear dodge. You can try with other blend modes if you want, and just play with the scale and with the range to make them glow. Also, you can change the color. You can make them green, or I liked yellow, so I used yellow. And then I also added some inner glow because it looks a bit dark, so I wanted to light up the body of the insect as well, so I used inner glow as well with color dodge. Then I made another layer, and using the brush tool I painted this these other dots here, these ones over here, and I used the same outer glow effects. And as usual, as the last step, I did dodging and burning. You can see the result here, before and after. And as you can see, I have it on a separate layer, and this is how you do it. You create a new layer and go to Edit, Fill, and here you choose 50% gray from this list, and click OK. And then change the blend mode to overlay, and then you just start using the dodge and burn tool on this layer, because as you can see, it affects the image. And basically with the dodge tool set to like 10% or something like that, just go over all the highlights in the image like this. Just paint over all the highlights that you see. Make sure you have the range on midtones, and also that you have protect tones on. In this case will not affect us too much, but anyway, leave it on. And just go over all the highlights that you have on the image. I spent dodging and burning like almost an hour, going over all the details, zooming in, reducing the brush size whenever necessary. Just go over all the highlights. Like that. And then use the burn tool. The same way, set it to midtones, set the exposure to like 10%, and start going over all the shadows that you have. Everything that you want to enhance, just paint over it. And even though it doesn't seem like we're doing much, just disable this layer and you'll see the result before and after. And I just painted a few times. And as you can see, I have two layers. This is just a copy because I wanted to have a stronger effect, and I just reduced the opacity because if I have it at 100% it's too strong, so I reduced the opacity. Once you're done with the dodging and burning, you can create a stamp. Is this layer over here, which I will delete now. I will show you how to do that. You have to press Shift, Control, Alt, and E, and you create a stamp. And with the new stamp, you go to Image, Adjustments, Variations, and choose the preset here that says More Cyan, and click OK. And you get this kind of look here. And change the blend mode of this to darken, and reduce the opacity until you like it. I think I used like 20% or something like that. 15. And you can see the before and after. Let's put it to 20%, 25. And this is how it looks before and after. And then I wanted to increase the saturation, and I used vibrance. You can use hue saturation if you want. And I increased the saturation of the colors. And then I created another stamp of that. So again, I pressed Shift, Control, Alt, and E, and I got a new layer, which is this one here, which is the final result. And I turned it into a smart object. And then I went to Filter, Render, Lighting Effects. This is I always use this filter for my final results. And for the exact values, I will go to the original one. So the exact values of the lighting effect, you can see them here. Intensity 13, focus at 62, and then I increased a bit the exposure, and the ambience I left it the original, and I also increased material to 100%, and that's how I got this lighting effect, which you can see. It adds a bit of vignetting on the corners, so before and after, and also increases the light here on the woman's body. After using this filter, usually you'll on some places you can burn the highlights, as it happened here on the arm. So I use this layer mask. This layer mask will automatically be created when you add a smart filter, and I just got the brush, and with a low opacity I removed some of the effect, and you can see before and after. And then I added 2 more adjustment layers to the final result. I added a gradient map. This is the default gradient map that I used, and set it on screen at 20%, and then another color balance to give the final color touches, and these are the values that I have. You can check them on my website if you want the exact same values, but again I increased the cyans and the blues, and on all 3 channels except on highlights where I increased the reds and increased the yellows as well. So that's the walkthrough of this tutorial. I hope you like it. If you have any questions, just post a comment on YouTube or on my website, and I'll try to help you out with